Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's great to have you here today. My name is Aaliyah Schneckenberger, and I support mid-market content at Intuit. We're excited to bring you this special event sponsored by Intuit Enterprise Suite. And our topic today is tracking business performance in real time, which in turn can lead to a whole host of business opportunities as you think about growth and business intelligence. I'm joined today by my colleague, Matt, and I'm going to have him introduce himself now.
Thanks, Aaliyah. Yeah, businesses face so many challenges. We're really excited to be with you today. Thank you for having me. And, as we talk through some of these challenges, be happy to jump into our Intuit Enterprise Suite product, show you a little bit how we address these challenges, and hopefully make your day-to-day business management and life a bit easier as you look to incorporate maybe some of these solves into your everyday business workflows.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Here's our agenda and a little bit about what you can expect today. First, I'm going to start by sharing some insights regarding challenges businesses like yours may be facing as they scale and grow, specific to tracking and project visibility. We're going to talk about Intuit Enterprise Suite and how it can help solve some of these challenges. I'm going to focus on two key areas today. Tracking is the first, and then how to view and leverage your business insights with consolidated reporting. And then, of course, our resident expert, Matt, will demonstrate the benefits of IES Live. So let's dive in. Nearly 2 in 10 growing businesses say they're still using pen and paper to manage and record financial transactions. Another 48% are doing it manually in Excel. I'm sure many of you can relate here. These are staggering statistics if you really think about it. Managing your business budget is one of the most important steps in setting your financial goals, especially for growing businesses like yours. Budgeting helps complex businesses track towards planned financial goals and make data-backed choices. Decisions like business expansion, should I hire new employees, should I increase my product lines and invest in new technologies, can be made with greater confidence when you have clear visibility into your budget and tracking. But budgeting can also be a major pain point. As your business grows, your financial transactions and reports become more complex. And without the right tools and processes in place, managing these finances can quickly become very, very overwhelming. Growing businesses are often still running on lean operations, which means you might be taking on tasks like budgeting all on your own. Employee productivity is also a very important metric for every growing company. As a growing business, you can't afford to have unproductive employees. Productivity metrics vary from business to business, but as a rule of thumb, each person within the organization should have a metric that they are trying to achieve. And when they achieve that metric, they know that they're doing a good job. Setting transparent productivity metrics makes it easier to measure individual performance against objectives, which can help you identify top performing employees and those who need additional support or training. Technology is a vital tool for a growing team. Before hiring new employees, review business processes and look for areas where you can automate tedious tasks. Streamlining these processes helps your team focus on work that makes the most of their skills, boosting both productivity and employee satisfaction. Nearly 3 in 10 say they're using digital tools such as apps and software to manage 8 or more different areas of their business operations. Investing in the right tools is so critical and so important as you're growing. New businesses typically only need a few fundamental tools to get started, a virtual kind of hammer and nails, if you will. But as the business grows, so must the toolkit. With more complex strategies comes more complex tools, and bigger businesses carry a much heavier tool belt. And now I'm going to pass it to Matt. He's going to dive into the product and show all the benefits of Intuit Enterprise Suite and how much easier life can be with these awesome tracking tools. Matt, take it away.
Thank you, Aaliyah, and would love to take you through the product. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what Aaliyah was kind of teeing up there for us. And just maybe a quick recap. We did cover this on some of our previous webinars, but again, if budgeting, forecasting, setting goals is something that currently, like you said, it falls on your shoulders and it's a little bit difficult. Maybe you're doing it in Excel, or, a lot of business owners have it in their mind. Again, in our financial planning, here's where we can actually use your real data, help you out with both creating a forecast, which will then create a budget. Again, we won't go into this in depth, but really, really helpful. And again, we encourage you to have a discussion with us on how we can set up forecasts, set up budgets, and then once we have that done as the groundwork, set up appropriate goals for your business so that, again, the software can automatically be tracking these and helping you make sure that you're on track to hit those goals. But, in addition to that foundation of budgeting, forecasting, and goal setting, what are some additional things that can be done around employee management? That's another really big piece of, as Aaliyah was saying, working with especially a larger or growing business. You have employees, you're going to be getting more employees. And so how can we put in a set of tools to really make that as easy as possible? And really do some key or strategic things like, keeping track of your employee history. How long has it been since the last time they had a raise? What are all the puts and takes, maybe all the different job roles they've done within your business? How easy is it to actually do payroll? As well as then, how can we use things like benefit administration, 401ks, and other things to really attract and retain your top or key talent? And then, of course, to run payroll, if everyone's not on salary, of course, you have to do some hourly tracking. And even if someone is salary, you may still want to track the hours they put against the customer job for profitability reasons. So again, how do we make all that pretty simple? Well, what's nice is we have payroll and time tracking integrated right into our software in the Intuit Enterprise Suite. When we click on payroll, let's go to the overview here. You'll notice there's quite a few tabs, quite a few things that we can do. But when it comes to payroll, again, keeping this at a very high level, all you really need to do is set up your employees, their W-2s, then, put in, again, whether they're hourly or salary, put in what their pay wage is, and then you can just submit that to us. And we take care of all your payroll, take care of all your tax filings. But we do quite a bit more than that. Other than just taking care of your payroll, there's still many other things you want to do. Employee management. Are your employee forms up to date? Is all their information, their contact information in here correct? You may have contractors you work with. Also, again, workers' comp and other benefits that we had talked about. So if you're really wanting to, again, be able to use beyond just giving them a paycheck, if you want to tap in and have some access to some other benefits, we have quite a few different things for health insurance, as you can see here. Again, as I mentioned, 401k or retirement plans. And the great thing is all this is tied together in the same system. But what if you're not a payroll expert? What if an HR issue comes up? Maybe you don't know how often you should update your employee handbooks, or if you have the right posters up, or maybe you're just hiring or letting an employee go, and you're not sure how soon you need to have certain forms filed and all those different kind of things. Well, what's great is with our payroll, we have some different levels of HR advisory services where you can have someone where you can text in a question, or you can even have like a personal advisor, and they can help and assist your business, again, with anything HR related. And then lastly, of course, compliance tools, all the different things to really help you get up to speed with how to be compliant when it comes to payroll. But again, a lot of this is just setting, and that's pretty comprehensive, but a lot of this is just setting the foundation. Again, getting your employees set up, getting their benefits set up, getting any HR help you need as you hire or let employees go. But then again, how can we even do more? How can we make this even a bit easier? Well, what's nice, as I mentioned before, we've added some really neat things like employee history, super handy, so that you can go in and you can see your different employees. You can see, again, their different times they've gotten maybe pay raises or bonuses or other things. You can see quite a few details, as you can see here. And of course, just as we're talking about this is a little bit sensitive information. So it's always a great place to go ahead and just mention, We can use user permissions to make sure only the right people can be in the payroll data, seeing this and working with it. As well as we always have an audit log, which is super handy. So all of that, again, will really help you to set up your payroll, to manage your employees. But there's one other thing we wanted to talk about is you've got to get that time. You have to gather the time. And there's so many different tools that business owners may use. I've heard time so many different ways. Hey, they just tell me, they fill out a manual time card, all sorts of different things. Email it, write it down on paper. But a lot of these systems use third-party tools, time clocks, all sorts of things. But again, while those are handy, why not have a tool that's integrated into your financial software? A tool that will make processing your payroll even that much easier. And that's what we can really do with our QuickBooks Time. You can have all your employees, and not only that, you can create schedules. So you can take them through, what is this week? Or if you do 2-week schedules, what does the next 2 weeks look like? You can go in here, you can schedule out one's time. They will get it on their phone or an email, and that way they can either accept or decline. They can also let you know, again, by phone, if, maybe they need to be out sick. Maybe they have a doctor's appointment. Maybe they're taking vacation. All those things, it's a great way to, again, keep your employees in sync with you. But then the other neat thing is, if you're more of a service-based business, you can also go into your calendar. You can see who's working. And then maybe you need to drop an appointment that just popped up. Maybe you just got a call and, this Friday, they need to go do a service job. I'm going to just say service AC. Again, you can make this whatever it needs to be. You can see who's available. You can put in roughly how much time you think it's going to take. You can select the customer if it's a pre-existing customer. And then again, you can go ahead and publish this. This is what's going to push that notification to your employee that they now have a new customer, a new, in this case, AC service they need to go out and do. You notice there's a location there as well as a notes field. So if you need to put any special notes, gate code is 2734 or whatever the case may be, call the owner when you get there at this phone number. We even have a nice notes field. But what all this will do is it'll, again, allow your employees to understand when are they scheduled to work. Again, if there's time off, they can take that, make themselves away so you don't schedule them or try to book an appointment with them when they're out of office. As well as then, again, all this time goes right into your payroll system so that when it's time to process payroll, all you got to do is click Run Payroll. Of course, you'll probably want to glance it over real quick, just make sure no one put in an error or, forgot to punch in or out for the day. But again, you can review the time really quick. You can run your payroll and really speeds it up. So I hope that's helpful. Again, that we're just kind of scratching the surface there with everything we can do in terms of payroll and time. But we'd like to hand it back to Aaliyah and learn a bit more.
Thanks, Matt. Great insights and demo as always. Let's keep it moving. As a growing business, staying ahead of the curve requires a keen understanding of business intelligence. Companies need real-time analysis of business performance to make informed decisions, take action, and move forward with accurate forecasting. You can use this information to plan future initiatives and course correct if necessary. We've talked about this a lot in all of our webinars, really around this idea of sort of a proactive approach to managing your business versus a reactive approach. And one of the most critical steps in unlocking business intelligence is consistently tracking metrics and KPIs to identify trends and patterns. And I think when we think about KPIs, sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. KPIs are really just the performance indicators that you deem important for your own business. They don't have to be anything standard. It's really what's important to you and what you think are the best ones for your company. The only point here is that you really need to be religiously tracking them and working on improving that number. Your numbers need to be easily accessible and up to date. Being able to rely on accurate metrics can help your business stay competitive and grow over the long term. So we can't stress enough how, just at least having benchmarks and your own KPIs for your business to track against is so, so critical in order to grow and move forward. And then we move into this idea of what are the right metrics for my business, because I think that this can oftentimes be confusing for folks. And of course, they'll vary by business. As a rule of thumb, there are a few that every growing business should keep top of mind. The first being customer acquisition costs and churn rate. So, high level customer acquisition costs are the expenses incurred to attract new customers. And then churn rate refers to the percentage of customers who discontinue using a product or service. Tracking these two very key metrics can help your business determine the effectiveness of your marketing efforts and identify areas for improvement in customer retention. In addition, growth metrics, including revenue growth rate and gross margin, are also very, very important. So, revenue growth rate is the percentage increase or decrease in revenue over a specific period. Gross margin is the difference between revenue and the cost of goods sold divided by revenue expressed as a percentage. Tracking these metrics is crucial to understanding financial performance, profitability, and pricing strategies. In addition, looking at cash flow metrics, including the cash conversion cycle, measuring the number of days between the payment of raw material costs and the receipt of cash from the sale of finished products. Tracking this metric is essential to identifying delays in cash flow, and it allows you to have the ability to take corrective measures to avoid cash flow problems. And then employee metrics, which we talked about earlier in the session, including employee productivity and utilization. These metrics will provide insight into how well employees are performing their tasks and how well resources are deployed. Tracking these metrics is crucial to identify areas of improvement, optimize employee performance, and ensure resources are used efficiently. This type of information will tell you what is the most profitable business unit or the most profitable project and where your biggest opportunities are. And again, it's all about proactive versus reactive. Really having that sort of bird's eye view into all of these different components really will help you make the best decisions for where you should put your effort, energy, money, etc. The more granular you can make your P&Ls, the easier it is to make those decisions on where you want to spend your time and money. And now I'm going to pass it to Matt. He's going to dive into the product again and show all the benefits of Intuit Enterprise Suite and how important these tools can be to uncovering critical insights that are essential for long-term growth. Matt, take it away.
Thanks, Aaliyah. And so, yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. I appreciate everything you were talking about, and we'll just take a few of them. Again, we hope to talk to you and show you more about the Intuit Enterprise Suite. A lot of these we can only scratch the surface on, but I like what you were saying, Aaliyah, about, can we set up profit centers to understand all the individual things that we're doing as a business? And then, what job is most profitable? What profit center is most profitable? What job's most profitable? What employee is most profitable? What service or product that we sell is most profitable? All that you can use Intuit Enterprise Suite to get excellent insights on, real-time insights, to help make managing your business and really focusing on what's growing the business, doubling up on that, and maybe understanding what's kind of being a headwind for the business and things maybe we need to either change course or direction on, or maybe increase costs so that, again, our profitability situation turns to the positive. But again, that's a lot to unpack, so we're just going to spend a few minutes, again, hit some of the major points. But again, there's a lot more that the system can do, but let's dive right in. So if you notice here, one of the things I'm really excited to talk to you about is, how we have different customizations in Intuit Enterprise Suite for different, verticals. We're talking about construction. One of the obviously the things that we've done for construction is put in some pretty vast projects and project tracking and profitability tracking. And we'll show you some of those tools. But it just doesn't stop with contractors. If you happen to be listening to this and you're a nonprofit, what's really amazing is you can go up to your settings, and there's even some settings for like nonprofit specific language, changing a customer to a donor, different things like that instead of an invoice, a pledge. So there's a lot of great industry customizations in here, but let's focus on for contractors right now. Let's take a look at those projects. And so, of course, what you can see here is you can see a list of all your projects. What's neat is every project, when you start it, starts with an estimate. And that's really important. That's kind of the foundation that we'll build upon. Part of the reason why that estimate at the beginning of the project is so important is it can kick off a number of, again, specific customizations we've made in the software to make running multiple projects and really understanding profitability a bit easier. What are some of those? Well, first of all, when you're inside of a project, you can get a dashboard now. This used to be a lot of manual work, a lot of work in Excel, or a lot of work in the owner's or project manager's head. Now you can see this real time. You can see, what is my estimates versus actuals? What are all those different transactions or expenses? If I want to dig into this, we'll go to that tab in just a moment. But a few other things, project profitability, as we talked about, if you want to maintain a 20% project profit, and now you're running at 15.85, the software can track that for you, tell you that you're off, and even give you some suggestions on how to get back on track to your profit. Costs, and there's so many more, and it's not just that this overview or dashboard that you have, but you also have a number of reports. But let's talk about it one at a time. Okay. So you've started that new project. You've created an estimate. What are tasks? Well, as we know, when you start any project, there's so many things you need to do. Permits, building materials, site inspections. I mean, the list goes on and on. You can actually create a set of tasks that every time you create a project, it will actually put all these things in. Maybe you need to go out and do a risk assessment. Maybe you need to do some demolition planning. You can have a whole list of these. You can check mark which ones that you want to add, and you can add those to the project. Then your team knows that these different things need to be done. You have different statuses, whether they're open or completed. Again, you can go in and mark these complete. And so every time you start a project, you can have the whole team notified through tasks what needs to be done. Another thing too that is really exciting, that kind of plays into tasks that we'll talk about in a moment, is change logs, change orders. We get those all the time on a project, and that can kick off some new tasks as well. But again, let's just kind of go in order from left to right. So we've started a project. We've started doing all those tasks, getting permits, buying supplies, doing site assessments, etc. Well, now we need to track all the transactions that go into a project. And again, this is what's going to help us understand that project profitability. And the beautiful thing, like with the first point we were talking about, if you're using our payroll and you're using our time, it makes getting all of the time and expenses back to a project super, super simple. Because as you're scheduling employees or contractors, you can actually, from a drop-down, select what customer job and all that employee's time will go to the correct job. Even if you've split them, where, hey, I want you to spend the morning on job 27 and the afternoon on job 32. As long as you've built that into their schedule, they can start and stop when they get there, and then those billable hours will again go right to the project. But it's not just hours, it's also, again, all the expenses we talked about, materials, labor, planning, architectural fees and other things. You can track all those expenses under your transactions. If you want to take a little bit of a deeper dive on the labor and what that looks like, that's what this time activity is about. But then, you may want to dig into and understand, hey, I got 12 projects in flight. I need to know certain things for certain projects. What's my real-time profitability? What's my time cost by employees, or again, those contractors or vendors? So many things. A couple of exciting ones that we've recently added. Cost to complete a project can really help you with cash flow management. Committed cost by project. As a project's getting off the ground, you're putting out a bunch of money. Again, permits, supplies, again, maybe engineering fees and other things. So what are your committed costs by project? And then again, the project profitability, bunch of other things, cost to complete reports. Again, a lot of different reports. Super excited about this because reporting is something our contractor customers asked us to beef up, and we've definitely done that. And then I'd like to go to the change log. Not going to spend too much time here, but hopefully everyone's cheering like I am, because we used to not have a change order process. It was, we'll just call it what it was. It was pretty tough. There was not a good way to do this. And so now, again, because you started with an estimate, you can go in, you can make changes to the estimate. Everything is logged. And what's beautiful about this, in addition to tracking change orders, you can even, if we open this up, if you make a change order, you can even put in an attachment. So a date and a timestamp, a signature, here's what the changes were. Hey, you did so good on the kitchen remodel. I'd love you to look at the bathroom and give me a quote on that. Oh, let's go ahead and do that as well. And so to avoid at the end of a job having, potential back and forth over, what should be that final price that's owed. Again, anytime you have a change order, in addition to having it documented here and date stamped, you could also add an attachment. So pictures, new drawing plans, site plans, whatever, again, whatever the case may be, you can put all those attachments there. And what that does is it really helps you when you get to the end of the job, again, having minimal back and forths over final amounts due. So again, we just scratched the surface, but what's super exciting is project profitability, estimates versus actuals, knowing what you want to be profit-wise and having the system help you manage that and get you back on track. A lot of really, really exciting things that you can do with projects. And again, this isn't all of it. We just wanted to give you a quick overview. So really excited about that. And we'll turn it back to Aaliyah.
Thanks, Matt. Again, as always, very informative demo. And that brings us to the end of our webinar. Just a couple things I wanted to share in closing. Intuit Enterprise Suite is fairly new to the market, but we already have a really rapid growing customer base. And they can't really say enough great things about the product and how it's helped their growing businesses. Just wanted to share a couple of examples here. Just to call out, automation has allowed us to take on more clients. Customization and tailored reports has allowed us to strengthen our relationships with our customers. And the Intuit Enterprise Suite implementation was absolutely seamless. So just a couple of, great shout outs and testimonials from existing customers. And again, just want to tell all of you guys and thank you guys for taking the time with us today. We hope you learned something aside from everything else. We know everybody has a busy day to day, and so we just appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today. We've really just scratched the surface on how Intuit Enterprise Suite can help you overcome challenges that growing businesses like yours face. So if you'd like to learn more and talk with a live expert, note the phone number below and make sure you let them know that you came from this webinar. And thanks again for your time. Matt, do you want to say anything in closing?
Yeah, just to reiterate what Aaliyah said, in a short compressed amount of time, there's just, only a few things we can show you, but we're so excited to sit down and do a discovery call with you. And by signing up for this demo, that's what we'll do. We'll really take a moment to get to understand your business, because every business is unique. The way every business approaches the things that we've been talking about today, setting up profitability, understanding, again, projects and employees and, all the things we talked about. We know it's unique and custom to each business. So again, if we didn't cover exactly the way you do it, if maybe you're in a different industry, no problem. Set up a call. We'll understand your specific requirements, and then we'll be happy to show you how Intuit Enterprise Suite can help you with your specific workflows that you want to improve or make better.
Awesome. Well, from Matt and myself, thank you so much and have a great day.